live. So without wasting much of our time, today we have a content, or we have an article, a newsletter article we are going to be reacting to. We are going to be responding, and responding to that article, we'll be giving some of the feedbacks that a lot of people wanted to hear from us. Some people have been asking questions as regards the new Canada immigration, healthcare, and social services, um, what they call it, social services draw that IRCC actually did. That was around last week. Yes, around last week. And a lot of questions have been coming up that, oh, Canada immigration, for the permanent residency applications, we have been seeing more feedback, more responses, more draws ever since the new government actually took power, which was the government of Mark Carney, the government of the new, how will I call it, the new Prime Minister of Canada. So, and one thing I wanted to say is that when it comes to immigration, you cannot really predict what is going to happen. And sometimes people try to say, oh, because we have been having some policies that have not been favoring immigration, then it's possibly going to continue that way. Well, change is inevitable, and I'm here to tell you that oh, Doyin, thank you very much. I see you just got the number one gifter badge. Really appreciate that. So let's move on. We were talking about the newsletter, or perhaps the article that I saw, the article from cicnews.com, which is the Canadian Immigration and Citizenship News website. And here they were talking about express entry. Canada holds first healthcare um, professions draw of the year. Now, for those that have been following, you know that we have come on here to talk about the first education draw. You understand? We talked about that in our last live session. So this particular one now, it's not the education draw, but it is the healthcare draw. And for the healthcare draw, we are going to be giving some analysis of what you yourself should expect in the draws. Do you understand how you can benefit from the draws, what you can do to actually qualify as well for the draws, and how you can get selected for the next draw, come what may, in what they call it, in a few weeks. So that being said, let me take you back memory lane. When it comes to immigration, especially for permanent residents under express entry program, for those who remember, you know that for this year 2025, there was an addition of a new category based draw, which was the education draw, the education category. Now, apart from the education category, we also had the modification, the editing of some of the occupations of STEM, yes, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We also had some editions of the healthcare occupation. In fact, the edition was in a way that they added a new industry. You understand? A new entire industry, which was the healthcare and the social services occupations. So the social services occupations were actually added to the healthcare in order to make it much more elaborate. And for the draw that was actually held, that was around May 2, we saw that they not just only picked healthcare professionals, but they also picked social services workers. So today we are going to be using the newsletter article. For those of you that are on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, you would see our conversation today revolving around that particular topic. So you see that on the CIC news website, Ashesh Musapeta actually stated that Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada (IRCC) has issued more invitations to apply the ITA through the express entry system. And these invitations, you'll see that the immigration department actually issued 500 ITAs to candidates in a healthcare and social services category based draw. So if you look at that 500, it's quite low compared to what we were expecting. It's just the truth. Because if you look at the education draw where they picked about 1,000 people, we thought, oh, Doyin, thank you very much for the likes on TikTok. We thought that the healthcare and social services draw would have like 1,500 or 2,000. But again, as we see, sometimes what you expect is not what you see. But at least Canada Immigration have started working on what? They have started working on the express entry category known as the healthcare and social services occupation. So that's a good news. We can still expect later on that they would add more, you understand, or they would invite more people through that category. But on the CIC news, they stated that to be considered, if you want to be considered in this draw, which draw are we talking about? We are talking about the healthcare and social services occupations draw. To be considered for this draw, candidates needed to have. Am I tired? So, candidate needed to have a minimum comprehensive ranking system score (CRS) score of 500 and what? 510. Do you understand? And they needed to have created what? They needed to have created their express entry profile. They needed to have been a candidate on the express entry pool before 4:31 a.m. Universal Coordinated Time on 22nd of July 2024. Now we have a lot of information there. Some people may be asking, what do we mean by all these eligibility criteria? There are just two eligibility criteria for you to have been selected in this draw as an SK professional or a social worker or a social services professional. One, they said your CRS score needed to be about 510. Now, 510 is way high. Do you understand? Is way high, and a lot of people will not be able to get selected, especially if you are not part of the people that are in Canada already, if you have not worked in Canada, if you have not had maybe an educational background in Canada and gotten extra points for the Canadian education that you actually got. If you don't have maybe like a work experience, there's no point again for job offers. So forget about job offers on that experience entry. But they still give points on the academic programs that you have finished, that you have completed, and you have gotten certificates for. They still give points for the what? For the work experience you got. Thank you, Don. Thank you very much. You just got the number one gifter badge on TikTok. Thank you very much for your gift. Now, and thank you for liking as well, Don. Really appreciate that. So many people may not qualify. Many people may not have that 510 CRS scores that were actually used to invite people under the healthcare and social services occupations draw. You understand? But at least we know now that the healthcare draw will be most likely very competitive to start with. You understand, for the first few draws that we know about right now. So Canada is most likely taking the best of the best, because we thought that if it was more than 500, you understand, if it was like the 1,500 or the 2,000 um clients or 2,000 applicants that they actually invited, then that could have reduced the CRS point, and it could have reduced it to maybe like 450, 460, and the things and the likes. So at least people outside, people back home in their home country, or people in other residence country apart from, you understand, Canada, may also stand a fair chance. But with what we are seeing now, we can actually postulate that This first draw is for the best of the best. And the best of the best means many people, you understand, that are actually going to be selected, or that were actually selected, are not people that, you understand, are not people that are just from outside, but people that are already inside. Or in some situations it may not be only people that are inside, but if you maxed out a lot of your IELTS or your French, or you had even additional French, yes, that's another thing. You had IELTS, or you had CELPIP or PT results, exam results, and you also had French. And most likely, if you also had maybe like a family person or a family member in Canada that also assisted you in giving you extra points, then you may have been selected, if of course your occupation and your experience was in line with the healthcare and social services field. But be that as it may, another criteria that they said they use in selecting people is that people are meant to have created an express entry profile before 4:31 a.m. Universal Coordinated Time on 21st July 2024. Now, what does that mean? That means that a lot of people that they actually selected right from last year, those people are like they have already been on the pool. They have already had their expression of interest or their express entry profile created before. And this is where I really commend people. And again, not only commending people, but I kind of use it as a warning for someone that wants to come into Canada and you want to actually be seen as someone that is serious. Some people have waited for close to a year to get selected, but you that you are just coming in, or you that, well, everybody's story is different. I cannot say because one person's story, the person had to wait for 8 months, or you understand, 9 months to get selected, then you two also have to wait for 8 months. No, I can't say that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that for you to be reasonable enough, you understand? If you want to get the best of the best, and what is the best of the best? The best of the best is permanent residence. I say it on and on and on and again. The best of the best, whether you get a job offer in Canada and you come and work in Canada, you are still a temporary resident. Whether you come to Canada to visit, you are still a temporary resident. You come to Canada as a student, as an international. Okay, I spoke to one international student. He's one of our friends in one of our Islamic communities, and it's sad that, you understand, many people after spending 2 3 years in Canada, they are still struggling to, you understand, settle down fully in Canada. He was telling me, and he said, man, he has been learning French for, you understand, for months now, and because even his status is about to expire, he's not concentrating on the French. He said, let's say he even knew, he will not even go and waste over 20 to 25,000 dollars that he wasted to actually come to school in Canada for 2 to 3 years. He had to do two programs. He had to go to two schools. You understand? When one school finished, he had to go to another school again to, you understand, study. And he saw that as he left one school to another, he was still not able to get his PR because there was a change in policy. Because that's another thing that can happen. People don't understand that we don't know tomorrow. You understand? Even IRCC self themselves, even IRCC, I don't think they can ever envisage what will happen tomorrow. They are not God now. So if you are not God, you should know that changes are inevitable. You should know that things can change within a tickle of an eye. You understand? Within a tickle of an eye, or how anything they say, it can change. So what you were banking on, that, oh, when you come into Canada as a student, you'll be able to do PGWP, you'll be able to after that get your PR easily. It may not be like that in your own time. It has been like that for some people. So yeah, some people have already used those opportunities, and that's why some people say, okay, maybe my friend did it, and you are not your friend. Your own head may be different from the head of your friend. You understand? Your own destiny, of course, is different from the destiny of your friend. So, or your family member, because you say because you people are related, it may not work for you that way. Do you understand? So, what I'm trying to say in essence is some people have waited. Like this draw, people always think like the concept of instant gratification, that, oh, I applied today, I created a profile today, and so within a month they must pick me, or within 2 months. Okay, Shebi IRCC said 6 months on their website. What they say, yes, or what they write, yes, is what, you understand, is meant to be. But that does not mean doing. Thank you very much. I see your like, I see your gift badge. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So what am I saying? That may not mean that because they said 6 months, or you saw that one of your friend did it within 1 month or 2 months, your own will be like that. No. See the people that we are saying they created their expert-centric profile. Some of them may have even forgotten their profile. That they just created it. That, okay, let's just see what will happen. July 2024, you understand, was the tie-breaking rule they set. So that means many of them, up until July 2024, July 21st, 2024, they could have gotten selected. So now imagine someone that procrastinated, someone that said, "Oh, I'm not ready to create my expert entry profile yet. Let me still wait on. Let me still see how it will be." And the person didn't create his or her own profile up until maybe like September. Even though yes, September is still good, but what that means is that even if you had these 510 points, you will still not have been selected because the tie-breaking rule didn't work in your favor. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So, in essence, all what we are trying to educate ourselves on now is don't wait to create your express entry profile, especially if you qualify. If you do not qualify, no problem, they cannot fight you for it. If you do not qualify, rather, you can do provincial nominee programs. You can apply or create expression of interest under the PMPs. Do you understand? You can work on all other pathways to come into Canada. But if you are eligible to create a profile, of course, eligibility to create a profile doesn't mean you'll be selected. You understand? It doesn't mean. But if you are even able to create, you understand? And having the hopes and working towards getting a better score in order to have the opportunity to get in other draws that are actually less competitive. Do you understand? So, what am I saying in essence? What I'm saying is the healthcare occupations, the healthcare draws, the healthcare category based draw, especially for the year 2025. You understand? The very first one they did, healthcare and social services, they picked 500 people with cutoff score of what? 510 for those that had created their what they call it, express entry profile on or before, you understand, 21st of July 2024. Now, there have been other draws. It is not only the healthcare and social services draw that we had this May. 1st of May, we had the education draw, which I talked about, where they picked about 1,000 people with cutoff CRS score of 479. So that was still very okay for many people that were even outside Canada. Some that had those points could have actually benefited from it. Apart from the education draw, we had the provincial nominee draw from April 28th, you understand, to other months of the year. We also had the French language proficiency draw. We also had the Canadian experience class draw. But today we are talking specifically on the healthcare and social services draw. So let's talk about what this draw actually taught us. You understand? As we said, the draw, the first healthcare draw, was the draw that they held after the addition of several social services occupations to the category. So it was not only for healthcare workers, it was also for social services workers. You understand? And as we saw in February 2025, when they added to this category, the draw also features one of the highest CRS cutoffs score for the healthcare program or the healthcare draw to date. Even when we just had the healthcare occupations without them adding the social workers to it, we have not had a draw that had over 510 CRS points or over 500 points. I don't think we've even had anyone that had over 500 CRS points. That means, or that's to tell you that a lot of people are already banking on this category draw. A lot of people are already becoming much more eligible for this draw. So it is much more competitive for you, especially if you are just one of the people that the regular immigrants, the regular immigration applicants that are just thinking that, oh, okay, I've done IELTS now, I've had band 7, okay, that's enough. I've done West now, maybe I just have bachelor's, that's enough. No. Many people that got selected now, some of them may even have had masters, PhD, some of them PGD, some of them they may have had OND, HND, dual certificates. Some of them they could have maxed out the language proficiency test instead of them just having the band. Yes, band 7 will allow you to create a profile under the express entry. We are not doubting that it will allow you to create a profile, but the question is, are you just creating a profile to just go on that, you understand, pool, or are you creating a profile in order to be later selected and to not just be there like all the thousands of people or the tens of thousands of people that are always there annually without getting selected? You have to decide that for yourself. Now, we said that CICnews.com said that this is the third express entry draw of the week, the third draw that they did, you understand, for last week. And it follows the first ever education category based selection in express entries history on 1st of May. Express entries history matching. What they mean by express entry history, that means they have never had any education category draws since like 2015 when they started express entry. You understand? But of course, they invited education category based draws. They also invited people through the provincial nominee program, the PMP draws. You understand? On 28th of April. Now, we said thus far, IRCC has issued 33,429 ITAs through the express entry system in 2025. Some might be wondering, is that much? And I've not been selected. Yes, many of those that are selected, they have more things that you don't have. You understand? Some of them had French proficiency, even if it's just band 7, at least they had something. Some of them had healthcare background, work experience. Some of them had education, work experience. The question is, what do you have, or what can you adapt to your experience? Which experience can you get in order to add to your what? In order to add to your proficiency level, and in order to add to what? To your qualifications. Now, they also said that extra century draws in the year 2025, this year, have primarily focused on PMP candidates. Yes, they have been focusing on PMP, and that's why A.O.S abroad would always keep on saying, would always keep on talking about the fact that if you don't qualify for express entry, it's not the end of the world. I didn't qualify for express entry when I was coming to Canada, and I didn't beat myself up on it. Rather, what I did was I focused on the one that I could qualify for, which was the PMP, the Provincial Nominee Program draws. So if you don't qualify for express entry, think outside the box and try working on all other pathways you qualify for, like the PMPs. You understand? Now, they said they are focused on the PMP candidates with the remainder of draws being dedicated to candidates in the Canadian Experience Class program and those in IRCC's priority categories for 2025. So there are basically three ways you can come into Canada as a permanent resident under express entry programs right now, because that's what they are selecting. The first way you can come in, you understand, is through the PMPs, because they have been picking a lot of people under PMPs. So PMPs, in fact, is it last week they still picked people from the Manitoba province, the province of Manitoba, and many of those people, they picked them by virtue of the fact that they either had friends or family in Manitoba that wanted to support them. They had maybe like a job offer in Manitoba, maybe like a school background, you understand, the qualification that they have actually gotten from Manitoba, an educational degree from Manitoba, or work experience in Manitoba. Many people from outside Canada, they may not have work experience already, they may not have job offer, they may not have what? They may not have the educational qualifications, but at least you may work towards getting a family member or a friend in that particular province to assist you to work on your what? Work on your PMP nominations. Now, if we look at it, what are the draws that they have actually picked in this year 2025? The draws they have picked in this year 2025, especially for provincial nominee programs, we have seen about 7 draws of the provincial nominee program. A lot, 7 draws. For the French language proficiency, we have seen 3 draws. For the Canadian experience class, we have seen 3 draws. For the education, we just saw only one, which was the one that they picked last week. And for the healthcare and social services, we have seen only one draw. Do you understand? We are still hoping to see more draws on education and more draws on what? More draws on healthcare. Now, a regular question people always ask that how long does the express entry process take? Now, an express entry profile, as they say, it remains valid for up to 1 year. If after 1 year you are not selected, then they are going to delete your profile and you have to create a new one. If a candidate receives an ITA within the time frame of that 1 year, then the Canadian government aims, when they say someone aims, that means they aim, but that does not mean that because they aim, they must do it within 6 months. No, they aim to process your permanent residence, your PR application within 6 months. And for my own, as I do always say, it didn't take 6 months. It took more than that. Now, processing time is calculated from when a complete application is received. So if they have not received your complete application until when the final decision is made, then you don't qualify to be thinking that, oh, it's 6 months that processing of my PR will take. Some people don't even already have IELTS sorted, and you want to be thinking of 6 months. Some people don't even have WES, their WES evaluation sorted, and they are thinking of 6 months. You understand? You have to get the documents you require, get the ICA before you start thinking of this 6 months. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Now, the said processing time is calculated from when a complete application is received until when a final decision is made. And if a candidate does not receive an ITA within that 1 year period, they may resubmit their profile, provided they still meet the eligibility criteria or the eligibility requirements. Now, they said processing times through express entry. The processing time through express entry tend to be far quicker, than other pathways to Canadian permanent residence, such as the base PMP streams or other regional immigration programs. So this is due to the fact that even after a province or territory has approved a candidate through their own permanent residence selection criteria, IRCC must still approve and finalize the decision before permanent residence status can be conferred to a foreign national, which can significantly add to wait times as a result. So with that, we come to the end of the review of the article from CIC News, which was written by Ashish Musapeta and updated on May 2nd, 2025, which was centered on the title Express Entry Canada Holds First Healthcare Professions Draw of the Year. Which year? The year 2025. So if you have any questions, please drop it on the comment section. If you want us to actually respond to any of your queries, drop it on the comment section. We would really love to. If you have any comments you want to add, any commentaries you want to add, then this is the time for you to add it. Let us know that you are actually listening in. Let us know that you are communicating, and let us perhaps learn together from the array of questions, clarifications, or comments you give us. All right. So don't forget, whilst we're expecting some questions and comments, don't forget that every week at least we always come on live once a week at least. Do you understand? And if you have any questions whatsoever, you can always reach out to us, send us a DM. Do you understand? And we can always be of assistance to you. For many of you who want to actually get to work with us, whether for your language proficiency, whether you want to learn French, you want to prepare for IELTS, LPPT, TEF Canada, TCF Canada, we can always assist you. Or you want us to link you up to our consultant or our lawyer, do you understand, in immigration, then of course we can assist you, and we can also help around working for you based on your any travel services you need. Okay, Mr. D is asking, where are you in Canada? Oh, it seems this is a new commenter. I am in Ontario. I am in Ontario, the capital of Canada. Do you understand? The capital of Canada. That is where life is. Any other province is a counterfeit. Any other province is a counterfeit. Mark my words. So I'm in Ontario. That's where life is. That's where we are enjoying ourselves, and that is where the fun is. So thank you. So please, if we have any other questions, let us drop it on the comment section. If not, we're going to call it a day. But before then, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Even after our live session, you can always drop your comments, drop your questions. You can send us DMs, go on our profile, click on the link on our, you understand, bio, and you can be taken directly to our website where you will learn what they call it, where you will learn more about permanent residence and other pathways. Okay, Mr. D is saying other provinces are counterfeit. Don't mind me, I'm just finding. I'm just joking. Well, we can say yes, they are counterfeits because that's not where the major things are happening. Do you understand? Like, okay, someone is still saying we're in Ontario. That is Hawa Kagbo 11. I'm in the capital city of Ontario, Toronto, precisely. Do you understand? Toronto. Well, okay, let me put it this way. I am in the region known as the Greater Toronto area. Yes, that is. I think that is better. You understand? Because some people there's what we call the old Toronto, and there's another thing they call the new Toronto. Do you understand? So some people may not really understand that, but basically the region I am in Ontario is known as the Greater Toronto Area, GTA. Do you understand? That's it. So, all right, thank you very much, everyone. I think people just want to know where I am. Where are you too? Maybe I should ask you, Mr. D that asked and Hawa Kagbo 11. Where are you? Let us know your own locations too. Which country are you? Which state or province are you? Are you in Ontario too? Are you in Canada as well? Or are you outside of Canada? Oh, Awakagbo 11 says I'm in Scarborough. Nice, nice. That's a very good location. In fact, I have one of my uncles in Scarborough. Yes, yes, it's in Scarborough. And in fact, I know one school there now, Centennial College. Yes, that's one college that one of our clients actually attends. Centennial College, nice college. I see that is around this what they call it now. I've forgotten that place. But basically, so nice. Are you a permanent resident as well, or you may even be a citizen already? Safe. Are you a citizen in Scarborough, or are you an immigrant? Are you a temporary resident, an international student, a temporary foreign worker, or a visitor, or even an asylum seeker? Which one are you? Or are you a refugee already? Or are you a protected person? Or which one are you, safe? Let us know which one are you. So me, for instance, I'm a permanent resident in Canada, and I came into Canada in the year 2023. I came into Canada around May 2023. So yeah, so I'm in May now. So like 2 years now. 2 years in Canada right now. Okay, Mr. D is saying I am in Canada, just not comfortable with the fact that you think people in Canada is the best. Mr. D, you are right. In fact, you are right. You are very, very right. And many people will say, "Oh, this Ontario is worse. This thing is this." You know, um, yes, I am still new to Canada, Mr. D. I'm still very, very new, and I think I've been opportuned because sometimes it's just about opportunities. I've been opportune to be in Ontario and to love it in Ontario. Do you understand? I've been opportuned. Some people have not been opportune to love it in Ontario. I'll consider myself lucky. Do you understand? I'll consider myself very, very lucky. So it's not easy. In fact, as people say, in fact, I was still talking to someone and the person was telling me that the bills in Ontario is much, the accommodation is much, and everything is, you understand, on the high side. And that's why some of my friends, I see a lot of people, some of them are going to Quebec, another person is going down, or no, up. Yes, it's not down. No, one is going down. One is going to the western part. That's like Niagara Falls. Yes, some people are going to Niagara Falls to look for cheaper housing. Some are going to which one again? Which one again? Barrie. Yes, some are going to Barrie, Innisfil to get cheaper accommodation. Some people are even leaving the province totally, like completely. They are leaving, going to, okay, I've talked about my other friend Nelly going to Quebec. I've talked about another person going to, okay, that one is on from British Columbia, complaining about British Columbia and going to, you understand, Alberta. So basically a lot of people are, and I think that's the beauty of Canada. You are not, especially if you come as a permanent resident, and you're a permanent resident actually, and you are not coming through maybe like provincial nominee programs. You understand? You can decide to actually live from one. Like for instance, I remember the first year I was in Canada, I stayed in one particular city. After then, I moved from that city to another city because life is too short now. Sometimes, if one city is not, you don't like them maybe because you see a lot of Indians there. I'm not going to talk about. Okay, why did I even mention Indians? I'm not going to mention. Maybe like you see a lot of other races there, or other, and you do not feel. You understand? You do not feel attuned. You do not feel you understand a sense of community over there. You can move to where you feel a sense of community. Do you understand? You can move to where you feel that, oh, okay, my people are here. Okay, people that come from Africa are here. You understand? Like, basically, you can shuffle yourself. Basically, you can shuffle yourself. If one province is not okay, or one city is not good for you, you're not comfortable in that city, I believe Canada is vast. It's vast. The places we can go is vast. In fact, sometimes I remember when I went to Ottawa, I loved the place actually, but later on I just decided not to move there. But I loved the place. It was a nice place, and I saw, oh, okay, I thought I just come there. There were nice Nigerian communities there that I saw that, okay. And because I speak French, you understand, in their subway, in their malls, in their, you understand, I was able to be kindle that my French knowledge and to speak French and to communicate with people in French there. So like I kind of felt home basically when I was there, because I felt that yes, I could grow more, you understand, do more in the province of or rather in the city of Ottawa. But again, I just decided, nah, it's too far from Toronto, and Toronto is like the sub is the capital city basically. Let me just put it that way. So I said, nah, let me just stay in my Ontario. Let me just stay in my GTA. All right. So Mr. Doing, I don't know, maybe that is Mr. Doing, but let me just say, Doing is asking, is it possible to move from one province to another? Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I'm saying now. If you are a permanent resident, I don't know about other. I know about myself. I know about my own status. If you are a permanent resident, do you understand? You can move, and I believe to other people too can. At least I've seen some people that are students moving from one province to another to go and get permanent residency. Like there's one of our clients that was in Ontario firstly. She studied in Ontario, but because she wasn't getting permanent residence in Ontario, she had to move to Nova Scotia. You understand, another province in Canada. So yes, you can move even if you are a student. I also know about another person that was first of all working here in Canada, in Ontario, but later on he said, man, he got better offers. You understand, in another province. And yes, if it now depends on even the status you have. You know, we have different kind of status, and we have limitations to the statuses that you have. So it will depend on your own type of visa, your own type of permit, and the opportunities that you have from leaving one province to another and settling down elsewhere. But as a rule of thumb, once you are in Canada as a permanent resident, you understand, even as a PMP nominee, there are still some situations, you understand, that will still necessitate you to leave. Once you have a genuine situation that, oh, I didn't get the job offer in like Ontario, one of the things people complain about is getting jobs. That jobs are very competitive. If you are not this, if you are not that, you don't get jobs. And that's why many times me, I don't pursue jobs. I don't have that time. I'm sorry. I don't pursue. What I pursue is partnerships. What I pursue is business opportunities. What I pursue is, because entrepreneurship, only few people can do it. And at the end of the day, those few that do it, even out of the few, fewer would succeed in it. You know that I pray God count me as those that are going to succeed in it. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, I don't pursue what many people are after that, and I pursue what I feel can actually help me succeed later on. All right, maybe enough with all that. Thank you everyone for joining. Really appreciate the questions, really appreciate the comments. If you have any questions again, even after this, then drop it on the comment section. You can send us a DM to actually ask more questions and to interact with us more. And I do hope to see you in our next live session. And as I say, we always have live sessions at least once a week, so you can always participate in the subsequent ones that we have. So thank you very much, everyone, once again, and do have a lovely day ahead. Bye.